Respect the Boxing here with another video. As always, like, comment, subscribe, show your boy some love. Hey, and don't forget, hit that bell notification, that way you can keep up to date on the latest content from my channel. Yo, been a long time. Respect the Boxing here with another video. As always, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna try to put out some content, as I can. I'm on the road traveling, doing a lot of things for work-wise. So I'm not at home. As soon as I do get back home, I am gonna start putting out a little bit more content. But right now it's gonna be sparingly. But when I feel motivated, like today, I got very motivated to put out a video on Joshua Ruiz 2. I thought it was a good overall show. I thought it was decent fights on the card. I thought it was kind of thrown together. It looked, to me, but that's neither here nor there. I want to talk about the main event. Okay, so Joshua and Ruiz got in a ring, tried to do it again, duplicate, the action that they had in the first fight. And I thought that it would have had the same amount of action that it had in the first fight, but I was wrong. Anthony Joshua showed up. Let's go to the beginning. As he was coming out, he did not look like a confident fighter. He looked like a guy who was still fighting demons. I even tweeted about that. I thought that he had a lot on his mind as he was walking to the ring, and I think he was trying to focus, but I just felt like he did have a lot on his mind, and he was fearful of the knockout. So, and I think it kind of showed up in the fight. So let's fast forward. When you get to Ruiz came out. He looked okay. He didn't look, too shaken or rattled or anything. And I was interested to know how would Ruiz come into the fight being the champion. He came out second. He came to the ring. I was very interested to figure out how would Ruiz respond to being the champion instead of being the challenger, this time with all the spotlights. How would he perform? And we quickly found out. So entering the ring, man, I thought that the game plan for Ruiz was to take Anthony Joshua to later rounds and draw him. And I thought that's what he was doing. It looked like he was trying to cut the ring off early on. He got cut first round, big punch by Anthony Joshua. And then I just felt like he had a game plan to keep making Anthony Joshua, because Anthony Joshua was on his bicycle. He was boxing. He boxed very tall, beautifully. He stayed on the outside. He used his height, reach, advantage, and he actually used his legs a lot more than what I thought he would have. I thought he would have sat down on some punches and kind of mixed it up a bit. And you still use the range and use the length to keep Andy Ruiz, who's the shorter fighter, at bay. But I just thought he was going to fight a more physical fight, keeping him on the end of the jab and then hitting him with power shots, like pot shotting him with power shots, not as much movement. But he had a lot of movement. I guess he came in with a game plan. It really looked like he was avoiding the knockout. Like he did not want to get caught. He kept staying on that bicycle all night. He did not engage, not a lot of tying up. I think when he did attempt to tie up was when, like in the 8th, 9th round, that's when I finally started giving a round to Ruiz. I thought Ruiz did a good job, as when Anthony tried to grab him, muscle him in. He basically punched his way out of those clinches. He didn't allow Anthony Joshua to tie him up. So I gave Ruiz round 8. I actually gave Ruiz round 9. That was, that 9 could have went either way. And I think that's how the judges kind of seen it. Because 2 judges gave 10 rounds to 2 for Ruiz, and then 1 judge gave 11 rounds to 1. And I thought either one of those was fair, because it was not a competitive fight. Ruiz was the smaller guy. He looked like the more inexperienced guy. He was out of shape. But I give no excuses, man. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm very disappointed, and I think Ruiz should be very disappointed with his performance. And I think he kind of threw his team up under the bus. The first thing he was like, "Well, I didn't have a good camp, and I trained myself." Man, you coming into a heavyweight professional fight, you cannot say that your team didn't help you prepare on the way. You know, you're throwing them under the bus. That's your trainer. Your trainer's job is to get you ready for a fight. And you saying you didn't get ready, and you know what I mean? That's no excuse for that. You paying these guys to get you ready, and you are supposed to be a heavyweight champion, and you have to have that mental level of focus. So he was not a champion on yesterday now, because he didn't show up like a champion. I think it was an embarrassment. He should be embarrassed. He should feel ashamed. I think that he should take this loss as hard as Anthony Joshua should have took that knockout loss to John Ruiz in the first place. Because there's no way that with the height and reach that I seen that Anthony Joshua showed yesterday, fighting very tall, that Ruiz should have even been in the first fight. You know, and that's the thing. I think there's there's a sense of Ruiz stepping off the gas in this fight, and I think it's because of the mental aspect of it when Anthony Joshua hinted towards a trilogy fight. And when you look at it, you know, even after the fight, the first thing Ruiz was saying is, let's do it again, let's do it again, let's do it again. Because he has gained a lot of wealth over the first two fights. But a third fight would also bring a little bit more wealth for him. And I don't think he deserves a third fight. I don't think he was really supposed to win the first fight. He caught Anthony Joshua, he dropped him, and he had him hurt, and he got rid of him. But then when you look at the second fight, as great as Anthony Joshua fought him in the second fight, I wouldn't want to see this a third time. It's no point. You know, Anthony Joshua is easily the better fighter in that ring. As long as he keeps the distance and, you know, and doesn't allow Ruiz to get him with a lucky shot, then I think that Anthony Joshua, you know, will win 9 times out of 10. You know, and it's not, you know, probably 10 times out of 10 because, you know, he just doesn't have the reach. Anthony Ruiz is just a shorter fighter and his arms are long. If he couldn't get on the inside, he couldn't work. He didn't come in shape. The guy just, you know, he didn't show up. He didn't show up physically. He didn't show up mentally. He didn't try to press the fight. It was opportunities where he could have pressed the fight, and I thought that he could have hurt Joshua again because it seemed like Joshua was bracing for a lot of those big overhand shots. Like, you know, maybe Joshua expected that he possibly could have went down again over one of those overhead shots because he looked very, I don't want to say so much fearful, but he was very cautious of a big shot, and he fought like it. He stayed on his bicycle, and then when he wasn't on his bicycle, he tried to clinch, and that's what got him in trouble. That's the only 2 rounds that he lost. Is possibly the 8th and 9th round when he was trying to clinch Ruiz. When he went back to his bicycle and boxed him with the jab, kept him on the end of the jab at a 1-2, then he boxed beautifully and he won. There's some reports, everybody saying that it was a master class fight from Anthony Joshua. It was not. Man, the guy did what he's supposed to do to survive and win. He didn't look like he was putting on a masterful boxing, you know, array with a bunch of shots. It was more so of Anthony Joshua keeping Ruiz at the end of that punch. I think it's some conspiracy there during the fight, though, with Andy Ruiz seeking a trilogy, and I think he kind of gave up on this, knowing that it's possible that they were going to do it again. As soon as the fight was over, everybody was screaming about a trilogy. I don't want to see a trilogy between these guys. Anthony Joshua is clearly the better boxer because of the size, power, strength, and now he's added in movement to his boxing game. I don't think that Anthony Joshua used that type of style against other taller fighters, because those guys will, I think, can close the distance, and with their reach being other taller fighters, and make it very difficult for them and wear them down if they can get a grab on them, hold them down, get them in the corners and fight them. It's going to be a lot less room to move around with a bigger, taller fighter like Fury or Wilder, any other taller fighter out there that, can give him some problems. So I wouldn't want to see Anthony Joshua and Ruiz 3. I would rather see Anthony Joshua fight the winner of Fury and Wilder. If that doesn't happen, I think that he should pick some better opposition than Ruiz. Ruiz obviously wasn't ready for the big spotlights when he became the champion, and the spotlight was on him. That's pretty much all I got on that fight, man. Y'all let me know in the comment section what you thought about the fight, how y'all feel about it. But for now, that's all I got. Dre Spectrum, and I'm out.
Dre Spectrum Boxing here with another video. As always, like, comment, subscribe, show your boy some love. Hey, and don't forget, hit that bell notification. That way you can keep up to date on the latest content from my channel.